Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for One Piece Collection 39. Ooh. And in this one, we get episodes 941 to 964, and we get to the end of the second act and the beginning of the third act, getting close to the raid on Onigashima. And we get some good backstory on Kozuki Oden and what kind of is going on. Now, it is kind of strange that we kind of begin and then kind of... People would almost argue that it's filler, but I would not argue that. It's probably... We really do need a lot of information on Kozuki Oden and what kind of is going on, how his kind of legend was built up, what kind of person he was, and how it kind of links up to the present day of what's kind of going on. Now, would I more like to have gotten through this stuff and getting to the raid of Onigashima faster? Probably. But I don't think of it as a waste or even really filler, even though it's like filling in the pieces of what goes on. So, we had seen Lord Yasui being killed, and we are dealing with the fallout of that, where Zoro and Sanji are like, fuck this shit. Zoro pretty much almost getting Orochi, but then having to deal with Kiyoshiro. Kiyoshiro? Going back a little bit. Yeah. Kiyoshiro. And then Sanji clashing with Drake as they're trying to kind of like get everybody out. We also learned some very important information on the Smile Fruit. They are not just called Smile for shits and giggles. We learn that there's like a 10% chance that you will get devil fruit powers from these artificial devil fruit, and then everybody else gets the downsides of a devil fruit, along with the side effects of not being able to express any other emotions rather than smiling. And it's like, holy fucking shit. Like, Kaido would have this stuff kind of go through, and all they would do was like take a bite out of the apple, and then because Orochi has been starving the populace, he would then give them the food to eat and fuck them over even more, to the point where they can't even express grief or sadness or anger or other emotions. It fucking make me hate Orochi even more, even as we get through and learn more about his fucking assholishness. But we see that Kiyoshiro is a pretty competent swordsman, and Zoro's like, but like everything's kind of going down, so they pretty much need to get Hiyori out of there, which Zoro is able to do, and they are able to get Toko out, pretty much with Usopp, Robin, and Brooke. It's like, okay, yeah, they kind of get out. Frankie also gets out as well, helping as much as possible. Everything's kind of going to shit. They do not release the rebel prisoners. Law gets into a tiff with Hawkins, and we also learn some information about Drake as well. That's more towards the end. But we see that Law's crew, Basil Hawkins was trying to like pretty much take him down by having the lives that he would have to take would be the rest of his crew. However, Law is able to kind of like twist it on him and learn about the shit that was going on, that Apu was pretty much the one that betrayed them to Kaido, and we see him kind of linking up and being with the Beast Pirates later on. Trying to hit the major kind of ones. We also learned that Drake is working for the Navy, actually linked up with Colby, as they're kind of like informing each other about what's kind of going on in the land of Wano. We do see that Luffy has been cheering on everything that's been going on, and that Big Mom then does get into the effect and learns that the soup is gone. This gets her into a fight with Queen, who has this kind of Brachiosaurus devil fruit, and it's crazy that he's got these kind of powers, and Big Mom is still, like, him attempting to, like, knock her out was, like, the biggest kind of challenge possible, and Big Mom tried to pretty much, like, take down Luffy and Hyogoro as well. And This pretty much forcing Luffy to utilize the haki technique that he's been trying to use to rip off the collars. However, the main kind of crux that we get throughout the rest of this before getting to the end and getting set up for the raid is that Luffy has a hard time trying to figure out how to utilize this haki kind of technique of the next extension of armament haki, sending haki into another body another body, be it inanimate or another person's, and like destroying it from the inside. It's like, okay, we need to do that with Kaido. This also links up with Zoro as well because he's trying to help Hiyori, and he's getting chased by like these ninja and stuff like that, and eventually does go back to the bandit bridge because he's trying to get Shushui back. However, we learn that that's this bandit dude is like a fox and has been trying to protect these swords because we learn from Kawamatsu that they're pretty much linked with like souls of people and are being like put in the ground to like mark their graves, and that Shushui is like a very important one. And Kawamatsu is a really cool character. He goes around calling himself a kappa even though he's a fisherman, because of what kind of goes on. Because we even get later on a backstory of how small he was and how he linked up with Cat Viper and Dogstorm, and how he is just like, I'll eat this kind of stuff, because we see it with Lord Odin. The hot pot was like too hot for Cat Viper's tongue, and like he spilled it and everything like that, and Kawamatsu's like, I'll eat it, Lord, and Lord's like, no, we'll make you new food. And it's like, his mother was killed because she was different, and she told, before she died, he told him to just call himself a kappa, so that way he wouldn't be even more fucked over. It's like, oh my god, little dude, he's a badass fucking swordsman too. But him and Onimaru were kind of linking up and trying to get all these swords and everything together, and Hiyori decides to then make a trade to keep Shushui. She would then give the sword that was entrusted to her from her late father, Enma, and he's like, the sword that could cut Kaido? Let's kind of do this. So we are getting kind of movement and understanding what's kind of going on. Really good Zoro sword fights as well and everything kind of going on. It's like, and Kawamatsu got some really fucking good animation with how he was able to utilize his haki and his sword style as well. It's like, ooh, learning a lot of good stuff here. Okay, so we're linking up with that kind of stuff. So that's that. We'll then link the people up later. Big Mom attacking that, learning that that's kind of gone. Luffy kind of building it up. So Queen is able to knock out Big Mom and pretty much drag her ass to Kaido to kind of deal with that. Luffy then has to deal with the people trying to reassert control of the prison, dealing with this kind of like virus stuff, because Queen's able to do this kind of tech stuff and makes this mummy virus thing. And we see how broken the people at Udon are as they're like, stop, please. Like, I get them being in a state of just like, you're just making this harder for us, please stop. And Luffy's like, no, you deserve better than this. And eventually Momonosuke popping up, as well as the Akazaya samurai, to kind of give hope to the populace and get them kind of back up. And Momonosuke wanting to run away, but finding it within himself to kind of give that kind of hope back to the people as they're kind of crying and being like, yes, we're going to do this. Because they learn that Luffy is a pirate, and they're like, shit, fuck, because pirates have fucked them over. But he's like, no, I'm here to help you guys. Let me help you. You need to be free. And it's like, yes, Luffy. And then he pretty much continues to train. Chopper, of course, heals him from the mummy virus and does the same with the other people involved, but he's trying to train and utilize his haki better. They are able to ascertain more kind of ships. Kinemon owns up to kind of fucking them over, Ashura over, and it's like, yeah, this was not a good thing that you did. Let me see. We also get that Kid got retaken and was pretty much being threatened to be killed by Queen, because the one kind of killer that was sent after Hiyori was actually part of his crew that was forced with a smile fruit, and he's just like, he wasn't one of the ones that got it. There was the waiters, the gifters, and the pleasers? Oh god, why did you go in like that? The pleasures. Jesus. There's a lot of shit that kind of goes on in here. Yeah, Enma. Oh, Ashura. Because we got the ships and shit. They do also take Yasui's body kind of back. Law's people get freed as well, as he's kind of pretty much interrogating Hawkins to see what's kind of going on with it. But yeah, they kind of work out their differences and get everything kind of into effect. Udon being liberated really helps to pretty much get this up to like 4,000 recruits for the raid on Onigashima, where we get other underworld people into effect as they go to other areas of Wano to bring them into effect. Luffy calling the Hyogoro, the old man, he almost got fucked up by these people. He was like, you don't say that shit to him. He's like, this dude, he fucking saved my ass. Chill, be chill. So we see everything pretty much coming together as we're getting ready for the raid. And then we pretty much start going into Kozuki Oden's backstory and how he gathered together all of his retainers and everything. That was actually pretty kind of cool. It's really kind of weird what Oden was able to do. Like, he's like an 18-year-old here, and he had like a harem when he was 15, where he was like at this kind of temple place. It was nuts. I really liked how it's like, yeah, this is all the shit your son has done. It's like, oh my god. And we see that Kinemon attempts to pretty much utilize this like little white boar for a lot of money for his debts and everything. Also, Otsuru might be dead, but I'm not quite sure. Because Hold'em kind of like dealt with that as the village pretty much owned up for the people that were stealing the food. Just like, oh shit. But we see that this leads to like the Mama Mountain God thing pretty much coming through and like screwing over a quarter of it before Oden pops up and chops the fucker in half and then saves everybody because Otsuru was pretty much eaten and so were all these other people, but they came out and it's like, holy fucking shit. So him and Denjiro then follow Oden kind of going around as he starts gathering these people. It's like, why the fuck do you keep on following me? Pretty much building up his Akazaya 9 and then of course getting to Kuri and taking out Ashura and like bringing it into a very nice and stable state. But the thing is, he'd been constantly trying to escape Wano before, but then we see that Whitebeard and his crew crash on Wano, and Oden helps him out. He's like, take me with you, take me with you, take me with you. Oden also helping out Cat Viper and Dogstorm and Kawamatsu. God, that really hit me, especially Kawamatsu. And it's like, Oden's like, they're children. Yeah, they look weird, but fuck you, man, they're kids. I'm like, yes, Oden, yes. Him fighting Whitebeard was actually pretty cool too, seeing his two sword style. And we also see, that Zoro is utilizing Enma, and it is a higher kind of tier of sword than he is used to because it actually eats at his haki, and he has to constantly fight it so that way it doesn't fuck him over, and that it has not been made into a black blade, according to the Tengu guy that was like talking about everything and offering the swords up to Momonosuke and Zoro at that point. And we've got people kind of shifted around so that way they're not all in one place. So we are also waiting for Jinbei, but we don't know what's kind of going on because, of course, Big Mom popped up and Jinbei was kind of like running interference so that Luffy and the others could escape. So it's like, what's kind of going on here? We'll find out next time. But it's like all these things kind of moving together as we get the raid kind of like set up. Yeah, because we get most of the raid stuff set up and then we get the Odin backstory. We see that they get to the port. However, even the weather in Wano kind of like shifts up depending upon what part of Wano you're on. We see everybody kind of like celebrating for the fire festival. Orochi pretty much getting to Onigashima. But the port that was picked for the raid operation is kind of fucked up. There are no ships there. We don't know what's kind of going on. Kinemon is attempting to pretty much do a last-ditch effort and just like go over there with all their forces anyway. Momonosuke attempting to reason with him and be like, I don't want to be left alone again. I don't leave me alone, please. And it's like, it's that kind of war. Like, you could say that that's your best challenge, but the thing is that Kinemon and the rest of the Akazaya 9 have to think about is like what's going on. Orochi pretty much getting some kind of information, bombing the Sunny, destroying all these bridges and everything to force everything into a kind of shit state. How did he get that information? And what is the objective of Kinemon? Like, is your objective to win? Or is your objective to win today? I mean, throwing your life away because you're like, oh, it'd all be in vain. It's like, no, it's only in vain if you don't win and take out Kaido and Orochi. If you just go, fuck this, and like, balls deep, that kind of shit, and be like, fuck it, we'll see if I die, or we'll see if we die too. That's not the best way to do it. So we'll have to see what's kind of going on, and because we didn't really see anybody on the Sunny. We didn't see any kind of the Straw Hats or whatnot, so we'll have to see how this kind of works out. Maybe they were kind of like called away with Jinbei or whatnot, or like Law, or something to that kind of effect. And then it kind of pretty much follows in of what we get backstory with Odin, linking up with Whitebeard, having his shit fixed and everything, chaining himself to a bit, and he had to do it for like 3 days. However, he let go pretty much like less than an hour before he was pretty much ready to join the crew to save Toki, who becomes his future wife. And we also see baby Momonosuke as well. And we see how Odin kind of works out and him becoming a division commander under Whitebeard and having all of his exploits and everything, and him being just like, yeah. Whereas Toki she's like over 800 years old and wants to just get to Wano, but she falls in love with Odin. And we see that Odin is catching the attention of Roger. And it's really kind of cool to see Roger and Shanks and Buggy and all those kind of crew back then. We also get information on the Rocks crew, because everything that's going on, Big Mom links up with Kaido, and they used to be on the Rocks crew, and they decided to make an alliance. So it's like, that's going to be a big kind of thing. We'll have to see how that kind of works out, because now we got 2 emperors in play. Because it was a pretty bitch-ass kind of fucked up thing to kind of just even go after Kaido. Now, we've got Kaido and Big Mom to deal with. This is not going to be a good time. I mean, it's going to be a good time to watch and read, but it's not going to be a good time if you're the protagonist and trying to go for shit, because that is going to be gnarly as fuck. Yes, I did hit that. Good. We also got Sengoku giving us the lowdown on some God Valley incident, and that Garp had to take down Rocks, and he has Rocks D. Zebek, so he's got the Will of D. But Garp evidently had to team up with Gold D. Roger to take this motherfucker out. It's like, what the fuck's going on here? Because Rocks was attempting world domination. Similar to a kind of King of the Pirates kind of thing, but it's like one of the whole kind of world kind of shit. And that his crew was fucking gnarly as shit. And that the God Valley, the island disappears. Like, alright, calling a buster call kind of does that shit, so we'll have to see what the fuck backstory is up with that. But it's like, crazy! So I could understand why people would potentially probably argue that it's filler, even though I'm like, no, it's not. It's important kind of backstory. I might have done it a little bit differently for flow and everything, but I really like learning what was going on with Odin, seeing him kind of go through his trials and tribulations, how his fighting style was done, how the Akazaya 9 got built up, and kind of changed themselves to be worthy of the retainers to being to Lord Odin and him being Shogun. Orochi being in the background and Odin helping him out, but then Orochi pretty much instigating and doing everything that he can to become the stupid little Shogun shit that he is right now. But we all know that the only reason he is Shogun is because Kaido doesn't want to deal with the fucking bullshit of probably running a country. And that's all Orochi's got. Like, he can say he's the big man, but take away his army, take away the patronage of Kaido, and he ain't got shit. To be honest with you, once that power differential pops, he's a fucking little shit that everybody could just kick the ass of. It's like, you might even have some, like, guards and, like, a secret ninja order, but you ain't got shit, bitch. So... yeah, I didn't even mind where this ended, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what else goes on with Wano. This is kind of more manageable for me at the moment. Otherwise, again, I would have to try and figure... well, no, I probably just have to go through and see where each of the acts kind of go. But that could be a little bit different of, like, depending upon if this goes in this act and this goes in that other act. That's kind of why I'm like, okay, I get to wait, ruminate a little bit, see where the rest of it kind of goes. But it's very interesting seeing, like, who Kozuki Odin was and how Momonosuke is attempting to be himself, but still live up to the example set before him from his father in the Akazaya 9. Luffy definitely needs to kind of... it's really kind of funny, because I see him doing the kind of stuff with the hockey, and I was almost being like, Luffy, you're thinking too much on it. Which is kind of strange. But the thing is, I'm seeing him attempting to do this stuff with the hockey, and I'm like, you're getting in your own head. Which is something that I usually have a problem with. But the thing is, it's gotten into his crawl, and he's got to do it until he, like, gets through it. I'm like, stop thinking, do it. And then that's what he's able to do. So, him, since we spent so much time like this on his hockey technique, and Zoro's with Enma, we're definitely going to probably see those kind of factor in pretty well going forward, and seeing, of course, where every kind of character handles that. This is a big, epic kind of arc that they've got here, and I've been enjoying it so far, and can't wait to see where we get to next. So those are my opinions on the collection. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.